Drill and Excel on the Piano, Read Music Like a Pro, Book 1 is for the very early beginner, someone who has never actually played the piano or very little experience of playing. It is in 3 chapters and 114 pages. So it is a fairly large book and will take a beginner student anywhere from a year or more to go through it. I'm going to go very quickly through all the pages since there are so many, so feel free to pause and rewind if you need to. Starts out with 2 pages of assignment pages for the teacher, you to write in their assignments, note pages if you want to make any notes, and the table of contents, and then how this book works. And this is an important page to read because this book is a little different than most method books. In each chapter, it has 7 parts, note reading assignments where they're going to be writing the note names, rhythm drills, scale, exercises, and some in the last chapter also has special exercises, 20 songs in each chapter for all the information that was given in that chapter, so the student has plenty of songs to practice within that set of information to really create a fluency in reading. And then the chapter test song at the end and a write your own song at the very end of the chapter. And it is self-paced, so if a student flies through the songs, flies through the exercises, they can go to the test song at any time at the end. So that's what's great about it. Keyboard geography goes over all the names of the keys. Technique, which is very important for a beginner student to have good technique right from the beginning, so they don't create any bad habits, of course. A lot of students play too close and too low to the piano, so it's important to have the knees flush with the edge of the keys and the waist at about the height of the keys, as you can see there in that picture, and the fingers nice and rounded like a rainbow, and fingers relaxed from the knuckles to the tips of the fingers, nice and relaxed. And then it goes over what the staff is and finger numbers, the grand staff to show the logic of how the notes go up from the bass clef to the treble. I think it's very important that a student understands the logic of the staff, and I don't teach the Every Good Boy Does Fine acronym in this whole book. It's all about taking small set of notes at a time and learning them in the sequential order alphabet, line space, so they see how the notes actually go up the staff in logic. Talks about rhythm here on this page, so they understand the meter and all of that. The finger numbers, it talks about the hand position, and practice tips. And this is a really good page for your students to read. I would really emphasize that you tell them about this page because it gives good tips on making the best use of their time, and also how to get through troubled areas when they're playing a song. So it's a really good read. And then here's chapter 1. Every chapter starts with what you need to know, and it outlines all the information for the chapter. In the first chapter, it's treble clef only, so they're only going to be playing with the right hand, middle C through G1. And I named the octaves in my own, for the purpose of this book, I have my own naming. So I focus on C, and middle C is C1, the next C up is C2, and so on. And then I'll show you the bass clef names when we get there to the chapter 2. But the rhythm is only quarter, half, dotted half, and whole in the rests, and just C through G. So that's basically all the information that they're going to have for the songs in this chapter. And then the written assignments that I mentioned earlier that they will be writing. And the rhythm drills. So on this page, I emphasize using a metronome so that they are playing with that steady beat, and counting out loud. And I emphasize also count the numbers, the count numbers, so they get a sense of how each number feels, has each unique feel, like the downbeat, the 1 has a very unique feel, and the 2 and the 4 being the upbeats. So everything is emphasized with beat numbers and steady beat on the rhythm drills. And there's more rhythm drill pages, and then add the dotted half, review, add the whole note, and then the scale. Now before the student plays the scale, I have a little thumb exercise that will help them to get used to that thumb going under for the scale. So it kind of exercises their thumb on that, going 1, 2. So they just go back and forth, using all the finger combinations there. So it really does work the thumb out real good there. So the C scale with the right hand only for 1 octave. And then the exercises, of course, played with just the right hand. So this gives the exercise, the pattern numbers, and they take that pattern and go up every position, going up with the right hand. I do have some video tutorials that you're probably watching right now, and shows how you go from one position, then up to the next position, starting in D, then E, then F, and going up. So, and doing all these exercises going up each position. So this is a really good place to talk about it with your student, make sure they understand. And there's also, you can go to the website to watch these videos as well. And then the songs. So here's song number 1, and each song, as you can see, I do start with the finger numbers for the first song, for the first line. After that, there are no finger numbers given, so the student has to remember what finger is on which note. The other thing I emphasize in this book is the student not looking at their hands. So they are to play all of everything without looking at their hands, so they have to remember what finger is on what keys. They have the keys memorized in their head, so they need to do that. And song 2, 3, and here's song number 5, that and 6, 7, gets a little harder as we go along. And I'll show you an example of song that we introduced the 3/4 meter here, and then 17, 18, 19, and then 20, and here is the test song. And the rhythm test. And this is the only chapter that does have a rhythm test at the end of the chapter. And then they can write their own song using just the treble clef notes C through G at this point that they've learned. And after they write their own song, then they can play it. And they can use either a 4/4 or 3/4 meter. All right, now chapter 2, we move on to the bass clef and the C through G in the bass clef, and the octave below middle C is just named a single C through G for the naming. I introduced the stem direction so they understand that. And nothing new in the rhythm, but here is the writing assignment for the bass clef, C through G. And here they can write their own rhythm. Since there's nothing new added for the rhythm for them to learn, they can write their own rhythm, or you can do a dictation if you want to clap or play one measure at a time and have them write it in. That's a good place to do that as well if you want to do that. Now the same as the right hand, now they're playing the C scale with their left hand and that thumb exercise. And then the exercises with just the left hand. So just like in the right hand, they're going to do each exercise in that pattern, going up in each position for 1 octave. And then the songs in the left hand, starting with that first line, giving the fingering, but no more after that. And moving on with the songs. And they do get more difficult as they go along. I will show you an example of the test song. Here we go, 20, and here's the test song. Then write your own song, just like in the first chapter. And now chapter 3, and as you can guess, this is going to be hands together. Now since there's no new notes or rhythm that is given to the student in this chapter, I start adding dynamics and staccato and legato styles of playing. So expression and music is all taught here, and the songs in this chapter will have dynamics and phrasing and staccato kind of thing. So by this point, they should be able to read fairly fluently for the right and the left hand playing the C through G, so they can kind of focus on expression and style of playing. And then repeated directions, and the songs do contain repeat signs, first, second endings, the de capo, the sign, the coda fine, and more note reading assignments to start with. And now the C scale will be played hands together and also in multiple octaves. And so once they get the fingering down for 1 octave, then they can play in 2 and 3 and 4. And you just check off those boxes. Every time there's a box in this book, it's for them to pass and you to check off as the teacher when they pass that. And now exercises with the hands together. The left hand just plays 1 octave below for that pattern, going up each position. and for 1 octave. And again, these videos are on the website as well as you seeing them here. And now we have a special exercise. This is going to be from this chapter going forward and all the other books. There are special exercises that help with certain styles of playing. And the first is the staccato. So, they will have staccato in their songs. So this is a little chance for them to play just going up with staccatos, going up and down, and they can play that, of course, with both hands. Now, independence of hands is a very good skill for a student to learn, and I've never ever seen this in a method book to teach a student how to do this, but it's such a great skill for playing your hands in different volume, loud and soft, and staccato legato. So they'll play the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern where the right hand will play loud and the left hand soft, and vice versa, and all of that. So it's a really great exercise there. And then the songs with both hands starts out with the left hand holding with the whole note, so it doesn't create too much activity at the same time, and then slowly gets a little bit more activity with the left hand. And again, everything is emphasized to not look at their hands and also to read ahead. And that's a great skill too for students to learn. As they read better and better, they can begin looking ahead, and that creates a more fluency in reading as well, to look ahead. More songs. And you can see they get a little bit more advanced, more challenging as the songs move along. And this is where it starts showing the phrase marks for them to learn about phrases and slurs, and different meters here, and multiple notes in the left hand starting with song 13, and multiple notes now in the right hand. More phrase markings. Now here it starts in song 16 with that independence of hands that was shown earlier for the exercise, where the right hand is going to play mezzo forte and the left hand piano. This is very typical for the left hand to be quiet because it usually has that supportive role where the right hand carries the melody. You always want to bring the melody out. So this teaches a student to play that right hand melody louder than the left hand. So it's a really good skill. If you do notice though, on the third line down, the left hand then carries the melody with a fortissimo, and the right hand does that supportive role. So it changes over to the opposite, and that happens. Occasionally the left hand will be the one with the melody. Now we have a triad with the left hand, so they're playing triads in this song, 17. 18 shows the repeat sign, so they get used to that, doing a repeat. 19 with the phrase markings, and again they're going to a lot of movement with both hands at the same time, so it gets challenging. And song 20, and then the test song, and that has a first and second ending to the test song, and an 8VA at the end that is mentioned in the What You Need to Know section. And then write their own song. And then as a bonus, we have Christmas songs. So for every chapter, if the student is in chapter 1 when Christmas comes around, they can play Jingle Bells, which is the right hand. If they're in chapter 2 when Christmas comes around, they are playing with just the left hand, and you as the teacher can then fill in the melody in the right hand if they're not able to do both. And then chapter 3, they're playing Jingle Bells with hands together, and it has little triads with the left hand, so hopefully they're at that point where they can do that. If not, you can help them. And then a little practice chart. This is really handy to emphasize your students to when they finish their practice, which does include every parts of that you assign them, the exercise, the written assignment, that being a part, but the rhythm drills and the songs and all of that. So when they finish a practice, they can check off that day, and you can give them points. So for the younger students, you can give them points and maybe a prize after so many points. That's up to you. But this is a real good record here that they can make, and you can see when they practice. There's 2 pages of that. And then we have empty manuscript pages. There are 4 empty manuscript pages at the end of the book. So you can encourage your little creative student to write their own songs or write rhythms or whatever you want them to do. So it gives them that opportunity. And there is Drill and Excel on the Piano, Read Music Like a Pro, Book 1 for your beginner student. Thank you so much for being a teacher. I hope you enjoy using this book.